Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, let's go.
Paralysis. Paralyzed people. No, we're not talking about paralysis.
Talk about quadriplegics.
Hey, you're a paralytic.
That's an all-time great meme. I wish I could bring it up for you guys, but it's a Tinder message, I think, and some dude messages a girl and he goes, "Oh, you're a paralegal? Like, how do you walk or something like that?" And she goes, "No, I'm a legal assistant." He's like, "Oh, damn, that sucks."
Oh no. Oh my god.
Yeah, paralysis by analysis. Too many people. You can't overthink things. I feel like. I don't know. This all just plays into just being a fucking reckless young man. I think you just gotta fire shots, as we were talking about earlier.
I'm very interested why it happens. Like, from a psychology perspective, why do people get paralyzed so easily when they're making harsh decisions, or why are people's tolerance towards risk so proportionate to like the way they procrastinate about decision making, about making hard decisions? Yeah, I would love to know about that. But essentially, if you guys don't know, analysis paralysis is failure to make a decision or the unwillingness to make a decision, because it's either you're scared of making the wrong decision, you're waiting for like the perfect time to make a decision, or the decision that you're making can have dire consequences. And so essentially what a lot of people do is they just don't make a decision.
Yeah, but I think the short answer to your initial question is it stems from cowardice. That's the short answer. That's the TikTok clip answer. It stems from cowardice. Yeah, I hate cowards. Anyway. No, we can't. We're on a podcast, so gotta be
we gotta analyze it more deeply than that. I think
Correct.
It's very easy to put labels on things and just be like, "Oh, you're a coward," but it's like, all right, now what? Am I going to continue to be paralyzed and not make any decisions because I'm a coward?
Well, that plays into. We just don't be a coward. This plays into the whole thing. Maybe we don't actually need to go into the detail. Maybe you just need to look at yourself and go, "Okay, I am a coward. I'm going to stop being a coward."
Get good.
Maybe that's all the analysis it takes. I mean, I'm not a scholar. I can't sit here and write a thesis on analysis paralysis. I can just tell you that you're a coward, and that's about it.
Yeah,
that's my extent of analysis. See, I don't suffer from analysis paralysis. That's not my concern. I'm not a coward.
Damn. Yeah, you keep. I mean, if we keep on labeling, we might just get paralysis. Someone might run up on us, bro, and make us both paralyzed.
So you gotta learn how to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Glock 45 might not. I mean, if you know how to jab, it might not be the best defense to a Glock, but it is. But anyways, so yeah, it's just failure to make a decision. I think it's a lot to do with fear of people just being scared of making decisions, because it's hard. Like making decisions is not easy. I think you got to be courageous and a little bit naive to be a bit of a shooter, like just constantly making decisions without having regards to consequences and analyzing everything. You do have to be a little bit ignorant, but ignorant is bliss, right?
I don't think you need to be ignorant though. I feel like you ignorance just implies that you're actually not aware of. Like if you go and take a shot, if you're ignorant, you've got no idea what's going to happen. If the real courageous, what you need is just courage. Because if you go and take a shot and you completely understand the what could happen, both positive and negative, and you still take that anyway. You take that leap of faith. That's courage. I think ignorance doesn't really play into it. Well, it shouldn't play into it. Ignorance will help you just take blind, dumb shots, but that's gonna screw you over in the long term.
I guess it depends on the type of decision that you're making, because sometimes you don't have the comfort or the luxury of having information available when you're making a decision. Like, for example, what type of business should I start, right? Like, how much how much detail do you really have about that? How much information could you really gather about that? If you're being honest, you don't really know much when you're starting shit, especially if it's like a complex thing, right? You're ignorant about a lot of this stuff, and you're just gonna go like head first at it, and you'll figure out what you don't know. That's what I mean when I say ignorance. It's not just being completely ignorant about everything, but it's you're gonna be ignorant about a lot of stuff when you're starting things, and you just have to accept that you don't know. And a lot of people, they're ignorant about how much luck is involved when they're succeeding, about how much there is to do with chance, right? Like you can't control every single variable, and once you accept that, sometimes you're just gonna have to make a decision, and you're just gonna have to live with it, regardless of if you're able to analyze every single factor or not. You're gonna have to face the consequences, and sometimes the consequences happen because you don't make any decisions. Like you end up in like this really deep depressive state because you didn't make any moves throughout your life. That's being ignorant as well. You're ignoring you're calling for a greater purpose, right? So you're going to be ignorant regardless, but it's like, what type of ignorance do you choose? Do you choose to be ignorant actively and be like, yeah, I know that I don't know. I know that I'm ignoring probably 50 different things before making this decision, but that's okay. I will learn what I'm ignoring. And so you become just a little bit less ignorant the next time you make a decision.
Yeah.
That's my perspective on it. So how do you reckon, like, have you ever been in like a analysis paralysis state?
Analysis paralysis state. Nothing comes to mind. I don't feel like there's definitely never been like a significant point in my life or a very critical decision that I've had to make that, has been held up by me just overthinking it. And that this was something I learned a lot, like 5 years ago. I came to the realization that, look, at the end of the day, there is a million different ways your life could go. There are a million different opportunities you could take every single day. There's a million different things you could do. And, being such a global, well-connected world and just being so much information out there, you see every single opportunity, every single missed opportunity that you could have taken. But one thing I realized is you just need to just pick something and just take it. I think from that day, that's just kind of the way I've approached everything. I've picked a particular thing at that moment that I felt was right, and I might not have thought that it was more right than something else, but I just picked something, and that's the way I've just gone through life since then, and I feel like it's worked out for me. I am now doing what I'm doing. Every part of my life now has been a conscious decision that I've made, and I could have made a ton of different decisions either way, but I'm here just because I picked something. And I don't feel like I've ever had that issue before.
Yeah, look, obviously people are different, right? Like, it's good that you have that mentality of like, make a decision, own it, and just keep on moving. But a lot of people don't do that. Like me personally, one of the issues that I would have was, if I made a decision or if I failed at something, I'd dwell on it for too long. I was like, why did I fail? That was one of the things that would hold me back, where it's like, look, it probably does me well now because I'm a lot more capable, because I know what mistakes I made and I own the mistakes that I made. I'm like, I know exactly why I failed in that. Like, I know which areas I could improve on the next time I go into something else. Like this media, for example, I've done TikTok before. I know which areas sort of work, which areas sort of don't. And I've done videos where it's like, I've completely embarrassed myself, right? Like if I started this by myself, having never ever done TikTok before, having never ever made any podcasts, any videos ever in my life, I'd be putting out some cringy content. Like, let's be honest, you'd be doing the same thing. You'd be putting out some cringy content because there is no one to hold you accountable, and there's no second thought. When you put two brains together, it's like you consider a lot more variables. You consider a lot more things before you make decisions. And I think that's underrated right now. But it's good that you're in that mindset of, I'm going to make a decision. I know that there's a million decisions that I could make, but I'll own the decision that I make. I think that's a very good mindset. That's a very good way to go about it.
Yeah, I definitely make a lot more mistakes, operating in that way. But I think it suits my nature better to just approach life like that. I'm not very detail oriented. So I think just being able to forget about the details, forget about the analysis, and just take my approach to life like that, that's just serves me so much better, despite the extra mistakes that I might make. But I feel like I move a lot faster under that framework. I move a lot faster, so I might make mistakes, but I'm also just going to get to the success just as quickly, hypothetically,
Yeah, I don't know. I used to be like that, where I wouldn't care about the details too much, but I don't know. For me personally, I think details are important to a certain extent. You can't just ignore the details. Like, if like we're lacking in this aspect when we're making this decision, and if I don't say, hey, we haven't thought about this, or we haven't thought about that, I feel guilty in a sense where I'm like, you didn't put all your capabilities into this. You just made a half-assed attempt, and your half-assed attempt gave you half-assed results. That's my issue with just making moves, because I've done that before. I've made half-assed attempts and moves that didn't really result in anything. And the only time where I've achieved something tangible in my life is when I really took my time, really thought about everything. Although I might move at a slower speed, it just means that all the decisions that I make are informed. But the issue with that is you got to balance out when is information enough, right? When have you had enough? You're like, okay, I've thought about I've thought about the fact that I need to start a business. I know I need to start a business. When is it enough that, okay, I know this is what I need to start? Where do I cut my analysis? That's the hard part for a lot of people. A lot of people struggle with that, because I think, I don't know if it's naivety or ignorance to just keep on just doing random things and just hoping something will stick, because I don't know if that's competence really. That's just like luck, right? You're just waiting to get lucky in something.
But you also have to be competent in those shots that you take as well. You can't just do them half-assed or like crap. You also have to be
doesn't
competent.
Competence come from you having to analyze what you did and where you went wrong? That's how you become.
It does.
More competent.
That's also super important. But things where you can't make an analysis or a correction. Sometimes you do just have to move on something.
Yeah, 100%.
And pick things up on the fly. If you move on something and pick things up on the fly, you have to be confident or competent to pick those things up on the fly. So I don't know. It's been working for me so far, to an extent. It helps that I'm not, my IQ's also not too shit. It helps that I'm, moderately high IQ, because I feel like that, I can also critically assess things. I think that's also important if I'm not, taking deep analysis.
Yeah, look, people are different. Everyone goes about things differently. I think I remember there was this. I don't know who said this quote, but there was a quote where people are too worried about looking like they're succeeding rather than actually succeeding, and that's something that's stuck with me a lot. Where it's like, I could fake confidence, or I could fake competence and be like, I'm competent in this and I'm competent in that, but unless I don't address the underlying issues which are holding me back from becoming competent in certain areas, I don't think you can actually become that like dream version of yourself that you've envisioned. That person that's like, got all the characteristics that you want in life. That person requires you to be critical of yourself every time you make a move. For me personally, I don't know what it might look like for you, but I have to be critical. Every move I make, I'm like, all right, where could I have gone better? What could I have done better? And the next time I make a similar move like that, I will do better in those areas.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's super important. Being able to assess the things that you do, or even just the way you present yourself to the world and the way you communicate with people. Just being able to take the time, because it takes time to, sit down and observe yourself and watch yourself, watch back a podcast. It takes time to do that, but you can also gain so much valuable information on what you're actually doing, and then learn how to improve on that. And yeah, I do enjoy doing that, and I feel like it's really up to my person and the way I approach things in life. But yeah, in terms of analyzing decisions, and that's just not how I work. But I was thinking about this the other day, and I think that's why we work so well together, because you are good at that, and if you analyze something and give us a decision to make, I'll just run ahead with it full steam.
Yeah. You need that combination.
We have a good combination, and we did like a personality profile thing at work recently. Yeah, and I was on the side that was kind of, what was it, D and I, dominant, and do you remember what it was?
Influential.
Dominant, influential, and I was on that side, and that was more of just like a brute force, kind of how you approach life, and you were on the more critical and analytical side. Yeah. And I thought about that the other day. I was like, that it's kind of why we work together so well.
Yeah, because you need to learn from people. I feel like that's a huge part, because there's probably a lot of characteristics about your personality and the way you go about things that are effective and they work. And if I cannot see my, that maybe certain things are holding me back, I feel like that's where my downfall will be. Like, if I'm overly analytical, because I know I know I'm analytical, but I'm not overly analytical. I don't sit there and like, let's create a model for every single decision that we're going to make, right? Because you need to cut your thing. But I personally believe that there's a lot of value in like mapping out your thoughts, in sitting down and being like, this is all the factors that are going to affect this decision, then making a decision. And that's worked for me in like a lot of the things that I've done previously. So yeah, that's how you get out of analysis paralysis, is finding, learning from people that don't really go through that state. Maybe that could be like a huge lesson. Like, find someone that doesn't really like
listen to me.
Yeah.
Listen to me call you a coward.
Yeah. Don't be a coward, bro.
That's one way to do it. Realize, oh shit, maybe I'm a coward. Maybe I do overthink things too much. Or maybe we had a friend the other day miss an opportunity because he took too long to get something to us.
Indeed.
He missed a big opportunity.
Huge.
Because that's a prime example of analysis paralysis. We presented an opportunity, and he just had to come back to us with something, and he didn't come back. He came back to us too late, and he missed out. Yeah.
And if that friend is, I feel like that's where the competence, or I don't know if it's IQ or what it is, but like, I feel like that friend should take time and be like, okay, where did I fuck up? Okay, what went wrong there? Because that's what I would do if I was in his position. It's
about analyzing the right things, perhaps, because he analyzed. Problem was, he was analyzing that decision to come back to us for that opportunity. He analyzed that. He overanalyzed that, and he missed his shot. But is he going to then go ahead now and analyze, what he missed out on and why he missed out on it? Yeah.
That's something I'm huge on. That's something I'm huge on. You always have to. I don't know if people do this, but me, like, sometimes I just sit in my bed before I go to sleep and I think of all the fucking stupid decisions I've made, and I'm like, all right, this is what I would do if I was in that position now. It's like, obviously not dumb shit. Like, it's just big decisions that you made. You're like, fuck, like, I should have thought about this, or I should have thought about that. And so the next time you do it, you sort of, I don't know, your brain capacity increases because you just consider so many more things. It becomes transferable to different areas as well. Like, I remember in dating, when I was like 18 or something, I would go approach a girl. I wouldn't think about anything. I would just like do it. And then I would say some dumb shit. And then as I sort of like talk to more girls and stuff, I started to realize, all right, no, like you need to stop doing this or you need to stop doing that. And that's transferred to like now when I'm studying, like when I'm like prioritizing, I consider a lot more things in that. And even in my social interactions, the way I talk to people, the friends that I make, I found that it's helped me with that as well. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of transferable skills to be learnt from reflecting. I don't know if it's analyzing. It's more reflecting.
That is, that's, introspection and self-reflection. I think that's a little different to analysis or analyzing a decision. I think they're quite separate, and yeah, you got to be careful when you're reflecting. You also got to be careful not to do that too much as well.
Yeah,
you came to me the other day. And he goes, "Oh, remember that 10 you fumbled like 2 weeks ago?" I was like, "No, I hadn't thought about that for a minute." I fumbled it. You didn't even fumble it, and you're still thinking about it.
I was mad for you. Yeah.
So yeah, you can't be doing that too much. I think, yeah, if you reflect on things too much, then you just kind of stay behind the 8 ball a little bit. You stay in the past. I think
maybe I just give it too much weight. That's probably the issue. Like even with business, maybe I give it too much weight. It's probably not as hard as I think it is, and I will learn that when I have a bit of success in whatever venture that I do. But yeah, it is what it is, right? Like you're not going to be perfect in life. And yeah, hopefully I'll reflect it in 30 years time and be like, what an idiot I was at 24, like, or 23. Why did I think that? And yeah, these podcasts would be a good evidence of that.
Yeah, that's the thing with putting up podcasts. The amount of crap we say, like even 2 years time, we'll probably be like, oh damn, why did we say that? But yeah, I don't care. I'm happy to put it out. These are my opinions right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it could look a bit gross, especially since, given our tendency to over exaggerate and.
Oh, you're definitely regretting your TikToks, bro. I'll tell you that.
Nah, I love my TikToks. I'll sensationalize all of them. There's a lot because the people who get it. The girls who don't get it.
Bit zesty, but
yeah, if you get it, you get the nuance, good for you. And if you don't get the nuance and you think I'm just being a dickhead, then I don't care what your opinion is, because you're clearly not as intelligent as I am. And, that's just, to be frank, that's how I see it.
Yeah.
So, but I do also have to be careful, also about, the type of people I get compared to when I sensationalize things. It brings a very negative frame to it.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's the thing is the vibe that we're going down. There's a lot of stigma around it.
There is a lot of stigma
from the other side. The people that don't agree, and I think hopefully there is a little bit of bridge that gets built there, because the bridges have been burnt
because of us.
No, not because of us. It's just the
no. You
people,
think we're going to build the bridges?
I don't know. We could
hopefully,
we could be the starting movement.
Yeah,
but yeah,
make peace between the alpha male finance gurus and the probably just the rest of the world. To be honest,
the purple haired girls.
Don't go there, brother. It's not even them. It's just against the world. Yeah,
pretty much.
Everyone hates them. The finance gurus. They are brutal. I'll be honest. They are brutal. It's like just a incessant work ethic, and it's actually quite toxic, to be honest. Like, speaking openly, it's very, like, not trying to be a clown anymore. It's actually very toxic. Just like the brutal work hours and everything, and saying, you have to work 18 hours a day if you want to achieve anything. No, like, you actually have to enjoy your life as well. And enjoying life's not sitting in Dubai in a Ferrari. Like, you actually have to, do something meaningful with your life. And it's not all just about working like a dog. It's about, going out and appreciating God's creation. That's also imperative.
100%. I definitely agree with that. But the thing is, if you enjoy the process, if you enjoy the 18 hours of work that you're putting in, then that's part of beauty of life as well, because you will know that a lot of people will have never experienced that in their life. You are part of the very few that chooses to grind, that chooses this lifestyle. So you're experiencing something unique. I think there's beauty in experiencing that unique like journey.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I agree. But even still, that extreme without even just appreciating life, I feel like that just eats away at your soul. Like, no doubt. Because I get a lot of value out of, working all day. Like, this is all I do. I hit gym, I go to work, and then I come back and do more work. And that thrills me. Like, I thrive off that. I love that. But I also know, like, if that's all I'm doing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with no respite and, not actually going out, enjoying the company of beautiful people, enjoying the company of the beautiful world that we live in, it's just going to eat away at my soul otherwise.
Oh, yeah. If you're just stuck behind, your computer for 18 hours a day, I think that's quite depressing. But when I say you enjoy the grind, I don't think once you start your business and once you start making moves, your whole life isn't going to be you just behind a laptop for 18 hours. Work is also going to involve you having to go network with people, you having to go catch up with friends, you having to go deal with your employees, you having to go, like, there's all these other side things that come into it. That's why entrepreneurs, they're not actually sitting there and making Excel sheets or websites for 18 hours a day. They're doing other stuff that are work, but it's just their social life is also work. That's why they say they work 18 hours. There is no entrepreneur out there that's genuinely sitting behind a laptop for 18 hours a day, working every single day for 7 days a week. That's just madness.
Yeah, because all the work doesn't just come from, sitting behind the laptop, 100%. Like, this is work right now.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Filming these podcasts. But
yeah.
I can't, they still need to, like, regardless, it is work. Like, all that other stuff is work. I still feel like you need to just appreciate life and have a family. Having a family is not work.
Oh no, of course not.
Going out and just enjoying the world that we live in, that's not work. Like, you can do that without working.
But I enjoy it so much when I know how hard I've worked to get to that point. Like, have you ever just looked at a sunset after not having looked at it for a very long time? Like, it looks so much more beautiful than if you just, when I'm on holiday and there's sunsets every single day, by that 7th day, the sunset doesn't look as pretty. You're just like, I saw this like for the past.
I disagree. I think that's just like, if you truly appreciate life, I feel like you can look at a sunset 365 days a year and appreciate how beautiful it is.
Nah.
That's my take on it.
I think you're fooling yourself.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Everything is fooling yourself. I'm just crafting my own reality. I appreciate every single sunset. They're all just as beautiful as each other.
I don't know. I'm a lot more like I appreciate things, but I know when I'm forcing myself to appreciate something. That's when I'm like, no, I'm not appreciating this. I'm trying to convince myself that this is beautiful.